And we are live. Welcome to College Game Day Week 6. This is Imposter Coster, joined here by NP Clem and Inspiral.
What's up?
We're live from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for a showdown between the 8th-ranked Crimson Tide of Alabama and the 18th-ranked Tigers of LSU. First, we're going to cover the weekday games, maybe FCS, but we'll get to that in a bit. Let's start off with Thursday night. We've got South Florida taking on Charlotte. Rather routine performance for the Bulls here.
Yeah, I think it's what you expect to happen in this kind of game. Although I am kind of surprised that Charlotte scored 14 points. Their offense is pretty bad, but as we've seen that Yale 11 doesn't have much of a defense there in South Florida.
Yeah, I mean, they picked up at least 3 sacks in this one and got an interception, but Carter Helms, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rather a solid performance from him. Otherwise, lackluster 49er effort.
Yeah,
their offensive line was a 2.6. They've pretty much got cardboard cutouts sitting around there doing that.
Could not stop the pressure from the Bulls.
I think it makes Carter Helms' performance even more impressive, getting over 4 yards a carry with that poor of an offensive line.
Very good from Helms. Maybe we can see more of this in conference play. Johnny Taylor, about what you expect, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns. In South Florida.
5 yards a carry.
Yeah, 5 yards a carry. All right. Taking on the showdown in the Kibbie Dome, of all places. Rutgers.
The best not neutral site ever.
I want an explanation as to why this game is being played here, but we'll get that in a bit. Rutgers taking on Hawaii, and Elijah Moffitt, what a game.
He had 4 touchdown passes in the first quarter. After about 10 minutes, the game was over pretty much.
He had more touchdown passes in that first quarter than he had incompletions the whole game. Think about that.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it's not like this is a poor Hawaii secondary. I mean, you've got the likes of DeAndre Bynum, Alexander Tracy, Jonathan Lawrence, James Sanchez. All are 4.0s, but Ben Franken carved them up.
Yeah. I mean, you get 6 catches for 160 yards, 2 touchdowns from your star receiver. That's when you do that to one guy, it's kind of open up the field for everybody else. So you're going to have to adjust your defense to make sure you double, triple cover that guy. It's going to make everyone else wide open all game long, and Moffitt took advantage of that.
Throwing those 6 touchdowns to 4 different receivers, all 4 of them getting at least 60 yards on a day. And interesting, Hawaii did actually have a better offensive line than Rutgers. Got 2 sacks from Sila Lodomoa. Yeah, Hawaii's offense didn't quite look the same. Levi Klein, decent, but not great. Lucas Bean, absolutely horrid.
He's no Shirley Walter. That's very clear. And, I mean, Levi Klein, solid, 0.6 carries, 114 yards, and a touchdown, but he's not going to carry this team to many wins on his own.
Dude's
he needs help for the passing game.
Bean. Like a Mr. Bean here, dude. Throwing 3 interceptions. Classic.
Man. Does anyone know why this game was in the Kibbie Dome?
Because they didn't want anyone to go.
That's fair. Based on the performance, I can see why. All right, Big Ten showdown in Champaign, Northwestern Illinois, and the Illini offense came to play today.
Yeah, Illinois is not known for their offense. They're more known for the defense historically. So see them put up 40 points is kind of nice.
Yeah,
I mean, William Carlson tore it up. 24 carries, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. By himself, he tied Northwestern.
Yeah, this is what we should be seeing from Carlson more often than not. behind a fantastic offensive line, he just tore up this Wildcat defense. In a game where the defense normally carries, it was really just the offense in this one. Not much going for Northwestern.
Well, they're very young at most positions, and where they aren't young, they aren't very talented. So it's going to take them 2 or 3 seasons to really the Big Ten West. They're in the West, right? I believe.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
so their old coach, that guy, he didn't recruit. I think it was Monda. He never.
Yeah.
He may have recruited a bid once. The entire 2 years he was there. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was able to pick up the quarterback, and that's about it.
Yeah, E.J. McGuire. Speaking of decent, well, I wouldn't even say decent. 15 for 33, 160 yards, touchdown, interception. He's a freshman?
It's just not. Yeah, I think he's a true freshman. So then he probably didn't recruit him. This is probably Saluna's first recruit at Northwestern.
Maybe. Yeah, this is.
Wait, no, he left at the end of the season, right? So he wouldn't have done anything for Northwestern.
Oh, that's true. This might have been an AI picking him up then.
It was probably, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is what we'd expect from him, at least.
Yeah, but Northwestern's in probably the toughest division in the league, in the country, and to not have any recruiting for really 2 or 3 seasons, it's going to set you back a while. So this is Saluna's team. It's going to take them a while to get back and be really good.
Yeah. Young, they're inexperienced, going up against a defense as skilled as this one just spelled trouble from the start. Next one up is Louisiana Tech at Mid-Tennessee, and the Blue Raiders almost picked up their first win of their young history. Curtis Dunn from Bulldogs lit up Mid-Tennessee's offense, recording 3 sacks on the day.
Both of these offensive lines were horrible.
That's what you expect out of Conference USA. Is you're going to see lots of just bad everywhere, especially offensive line.
Yeah, makes for some interesting defensive showings, though. I mean,
Dexter Flowers is going to put up ginormous stats.
In most games. We'll get to that in just a bit because he also played during this weekday. Curtis Dunn had 3 sacks. Keith Lewis had 2 interceptions for the Blue Raiders. Very little went right for the offenses.
I think you can give Middle Tennessee the most sportsmanlike conduct award. They had 1 penalty for 8 yards.
Man, just no aggressiveness at all of that team.
Hey, I mean, it almost worked.
Do either of these teams even have a coach? I mean,
yes, they both do. Louisiana Tech has the TK, and
I think Middle Tennessee has a Lucas, believe. No.
Yes, it's Lucas.
Okay. Louisiana Tech, I think, might be a new guy.
Yeah, it's a new guy for LT. Oh. Yeah, Mid-Tennessee just edged out in this one by the Bulldogs, still searching for that first win. Now on to the Dexter Flowers show. In Norfolk, Virginia, Southern Miss beating the Monarchs 17-6. Only 1 sack from Flowers this time.
Yeah, but that's all you really needed against Old Dominion. Old Dominion is really, really bad. Really bad. Worse in the country bad. They're in that conversation, I think.
Yeah, they're not exactly great. They do have a win, so that's more than quite a few other teams can say. But I don't even know what they can do offensively. Maybe we run it through Isaiah Mitchell? Maybe.
Yeah, but he had... It's just bad.
Just straight bad. But as bad as it was, Southern Miss's offense wasn't that much better. Maybe outside of Harrison Wire.
He, 7 yards to carry. That's nothing to take for granted, no matter who you're playing.
Yep, straightforward win for Southern Miss, about what we expect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason why Southern Miss, shouldn't contend for Conference USA this year.
Yeah, they'll have to go through Rice, and we'll be waiting for that one.
Yeah.
Over to the MAC in Ypsilanti, Michigan. It's Buffalo and the Eagles. And EMU.
First off, when you go to Ypsilanti, nobody wins. Everyone knows this when you go to Ypsilanti.
Yeah. I can't argue that. But EMU did come out winners in this one. 17-14 over the Buffs, and what I think is an upset. Because EMU has not looked all that great, and Mamadou Win didn't have the same effect as he always does.
He just doesn't get in the end zone as much as he carries. I think it's my biggest complaint about him is he doesn't score enough touchdowns for how many carries he gets.
Yeah, I mean, we see these 1-2 touchdown games more often than not, and considering he's carrying it 30 times a game, you should expect more, especially if he piles up like 130 yards.
Especially playing in the MAC that doesn't exactly have good defenses.
Yeah.
More.
EMU's decent but not great. They have a good secondary, but that, of course, that doesn't help against Mamadou here.
Well, it did at the end of the game when Buffalo was forced to throw and they picked him off.
Well, okay,
with 50 seconds left. Helps. But I mean, other than that, against a team like Buffalo, a secondary isn't going to help you out too much. Your front seven's really going to lead your defense. I mean, they held them to just over 4 yards a carry, and kept them out of the end zone only once, so they didn't do terribly.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a team like Buffalo, running it this much is kind of a bad idea because you don't got much, and they know exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows that Buffalo's going to line up and run it right the middle at you every play. I mean, they had 35 running plays and only 9 passing plays.
I mean, to be fair, Stephen Coach isn't the best of passers. Yeah.
I mean, that necessarily doesn't help you get some balance to your offense either.
Sure. One name I keep bringing up with these Bulls is Patrick Garber, the Miami transfer. 1.5 sacks today.
I can't wait to watch him against Miami, what he's going to do.
Could be a important game in the East Division. And the division nobody seems to want to win.
Yeah, it's kind of been anyone's game so far in the East. Kind of like in real life.
Yeah, it's a very stark comparison. All right, yeah, I think we're done with that one. Continuing with the MAC team, it's Toledo and Memphis in Tennessee. Toledo gets a 23 win here, but not the best of performances from a hyped offense.
It's hard to call it hype when only one person's hyping it. Defense played well, but at the same time, Memphis still has Brian Jennings at quarterback, so anytime you play against Brian Jennings, your defense is going to look solid. I know last week Toledo rolled an offense, and I kind of called them out for being boring and kind of lackluster, but they went back to being boring and lackluster this week. Probably should have put up more than 20 points on Memphis.
Yeah, it's not like Memphis has a great defense at all.
They're one of the worst teams in their conference. That's not exactly a great conference in the first place. So,
yeah, I think you've about summed up this game. Toledo's scoring offense beats out Memphis. Brian Jennings makes Toledo's defense look good. Interception from Anthony Davis. Pair of sacks between Glenn Montgomery and Nicholas Kowalski. Again, it's about what you'd expect.
Yeah.
All right. Going to Colorado State Bowling Green. The Falcons upset the Conway Convoy here.
Yeah, the Conroy convoy is not the same without Jeremy Scarborough. He's definitely missing his old teammate a lot this season.
Not having a reliable number one target, incompletions start to come up, interceptions, number of it continually rises, and opposing defenses can take advantage of it. Matthew Hicks getting the pick six in the first quarter and put him up 10-0.
Yeah, I mean, the field goal in the first quarter was set up by a interception by Antonio Jackson for Bowling Green. So both of Conroy's interceptions led to points directly for Bowling Green. Not only are you giving away possession, but you're also giving other team points.
And in a game this close, you cannot do that. Isaiah Hall picked up a pair of sacks, and Brandon Thomas got himself one. So yeah, nice showing from Bowling Green's defense, offense. William Banks did something for once, so there's that.
I mean, Eddie Connolly was very efficient passing. He just couldn't get it in the end zone.
Yeah, one of the better games from Connolly. Sans the touchdowns. Didn't turn it over, which is always a good sign. And well, Falcons are out to a 3-2 start. I think they've already eclipsed last year's win total.
And NC State.
We'll get to that. Arizona State, UCLA. If you like offense, this is not your game.
No. Both these teams are probably in a rebuilding session. So they're going to have some ugly games this year. There are some times where they take teams deep into the games, threaten them, and then they're going to have some games where they lay an absolute egg. And both teams laid an egg in this one.
I can agree with UCLA that they're in a rebuilding state. Calvin McClellan is clearly not Josh Janko, and Stephen Gore is not a reliable passer, even though he was pretty efficient in this one.
Yeah, but you can't have 20 completions for his 290 yards when you're expected to lead your team to victory. You've got to make those completions go for more.
Yeah, and for Arizona State, I wouldn't say they're rebuilding, but they should put up more than 9 against UCLA. Charles Parker's a better back than what we saw today.
I think in the end, both of these teams will have sort of middle-ish seasons with USC just rolling over them for the division.
Yeah.
Both of them have to go through that.
And they have to go through Zona, who's not exactly what they used to be a couple seasons ago, but they're still a dangerous team.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Zona's just kind of hanging around there. I'm pretty sure one of these teams plays Oregon, too, so that's going to be fun. Am I right? I am. Yes, UCLA is to play them. Yeah, UCLA gets their third win of the season. 13-9, ugly game. So as always, we take a look at the games. We hand out helmet stickers to those who we think performed extraordinarily well. So I'm going to start with you here, Clem. Who do you think gets your helmet sticker?
I'm going to go with William Carlson, the running back for Illinois. Just could not be stopped. 145 yards, 2 touchdowns. By himself, he tied Northwestern, giving his team every chance to win, and they rolled, partially because of him.
All right. And Sparrow.
Not so fast, my friend here. I'm going to go with the Rutgers defense here. I mean, even though they rolled over Hawaii, getting 3 interceptions and a sack just on the stat sheet itself is pretty good, though. Carlson was the transfer from Purdue, and I've followed him quite a bit. He's actually a really good back. I just picked up CJ to replace him.
All right. I tell you for getting an easy way out, but I can't exactly disagree here. A little spooky that all 3 of the guys that picked up the interception also got 2 tackles, but I don't know. My guy is going to be Curtis Dunn for Louisiana Tech. I know CUSA offensive lines are bad, but it's not like we've seen Curtis Dunn before. Just 3 sacks out of nowhere. Very impactful for the Bulldogs in beating Tennessee. All right, now we're going to shift over to the Friday games. And we'll start out with Navy hosting Cincinnati. And what turned out to be a really close and interesting game.
I mean, interesting in that both teams are garbage and neither team wanted to win. There's that.
Well, the ending, I'd say, was interesting then. I guess. Kieran O'Connell.
The end was kind of interesting with a 2-point conversion, a field goal, and then an interception. I mean, fourth quarter, even though teams are dog shit, I mean, it's still interesting.
Yeah. Kieran O'Connell did bring the game within 2 in the fourth quarter. Could not convert in 2-point conversion. Navy kicks a field goal. It's up to Dylan Schaefer to get him back in it, and he does what Dylan Schaefer does, throw picks.
Yeah, Cincinnati is just void of any sort of talent at really any position outside. I mean, Kieran O'Connell is asked to do a whole lot for his team. And he does whatever he can, but there's just nothing else to help him there on offense. So it's like Northwestern, it's just going to take a while for them to be able to compete.
I mean, you've got Mario Ruff, who's been decent so far, but he was very absent today. Yeah, this is going to take a lot of work to rebuild Cincinnati.
And honestly, same with Navy, too. Just a couple years ago, Navy was, what, a 10-win team? And now they're this?
Yeah, all because Chris Bell.
Yeah, Chris Bell does hide a lot of faults on the team.
Yeah, a lot of faults, just like Tulane did against UConn. In New Orleans, the Huskies rolled to a 30-7 win. Marshawn Miller looking like one of the better backs now. 139 yards, 2 touchdowns against the Green Wave.
I do want to point out that Mekhi Stewart's a guy who I've kind of trashed in the past for not being a good passer. Actually had a really good passing game in terms of efficiency and not turning the ball over. Only 9 incompletions, 288 yards, and a touchdown. So, I mean, he's starting to get a little better finally.
Yeah, he's turning into a quarterback that needs to be efficient if teams are going to stack up on Marshawn. Defense, 3 sacks between Darius Green and Damani Bradford-Jack, and another one
from Zavala. Yeah.
But this Tulane offense has just disappeared after their showing against Purdue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Randall Moulton isn't it. And having a terrible season compared to what we've even seen in the past. He's doing even worse, I think, than what we've come to used to seeing him do.
Yeah, it's miles apart from last year, and I'm not exactly sure what's happened. Even between Purdue going into Florida and LSU, I'm not sure what was changed that completely wrecked that offense, but it's poor. Save best.
I mean, they were 1 for 11 on third downs and 0 for 2 on fourth downs. Converting third down to your offense doesn't have a chance to get any sort of rhythm going and score points, and they absolutely could not convert.
Can't convert, can't win.
The one thing looking forward with Connecticut, they actually had some pretty decent recruits in their state, and no one's been recruiting for them, so that's kind of an interesting case. What's going to end up happening in the Northeast with all the recruits in the different states.
Are they still coachless?
I think so.
Wait, I think I remember them picking up someone, but I have not seen them. So I don't know. All right, moving on to Marshall FIU. Trick play strike again.
Oh man, this is not a game Marshall should have lost.
We know Marshall's been void of talent with the departure of literally their number ones.
Everybody.
Running back and receiver.
And I think even a couple defensive positions they lost to the draft too. They just lost a lot in one season and had nothing to replace it with. But this is definitely not a game they should have lost. FIU was really bad.
I mean, two touchdowns for FIU were scored from the defense. Let's see. We've had Victor Thomas return an interception for a touchdown in the first quarter. We had a blocked field goal fumble recovered for a touchdown in the second quarter from Miles Mosley. I'm not even sure what to make of this.
What to make of it is that the Marshall coach pretty much ruined whatever shot he had at redeeming his team season.
What is this? This drops Marshall 0-5, right? Yikes.
Yeah. I mean, even a conference play, they should still be able to pick up a few wins, but I don't think they're going to get to 6 and get a bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, if it hasn't been stressed enough, don't run trick plays. Just don't. Except if you're Oklahoma State, but you don't have a reason to if you're Oklahoma State anymore. So, yeah, just
it was. Yeah.
Team that doesn't need to run trick plays. Western Michigan hosting the Florida Atlantic Owls in Kalamazoo. And it's about what you expect here. 28-0 Western Michigan. Gabriel Shields having another fantastic day. Sean Taylor, though.
135 yards, 2 touchdowns, yeah.
Yeah, look at Sean Taylor.
2 interceptions, 1 for – yeah, that's yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. FAU is also really, really bad.
Yeah.
So this isn't all that surprising. Although David Edwards, receiver for FAU, did have 7 catches for 71 yards. It's clearly the number 1 option for Gregory Crowder. But, yeah, I mean, Crowder had 11 completions for 96 yards and 3 interceptions. That's bad. That's really, really bad.
Yeah. I mean, well, just about half of his incompletions were interceptions. Just throw that out. But, yeah, I can't even say much about this game. Just FAU's bad. Western Michigan did what they had to do.
Yeah. Just kind of meh.
A pair of winless teams met in Logan, Utah. And, well, the Great Value Aggies got a nice 35-14 win. And Curtis Henry, one of the best tight ends in the country, finally exploded onto the scene.
I mean, he had 11 catches, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Travis Love, the quarterback, had 23 completions for 270 yards and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Utah State passing game was very, very good. The running game wasn't as fun, but passing game was very efficient. That's true.
Yep, defense got a couple of interceptions off Mari Terry, but I'm more impressed with Utah State's offensive line being able to hold down Javier Gray, the defensive end that ran amok against Michigan. Javier Grady, that's his name.
That's right.
So yeah, the fact that they kept him silent throughout the game is very impressive. But Curtis Henry, wow. It's about time we see him perform to his level. All right, moving on to UAB and Rice, and JB Blacknall finally silenced as Rice rolls to a 27 win.
Eric McLean with another nice performance. 23 completions, 269 yards, touchdown, and most importantly, no interceptions. Is he a redshirt freshman or true freshman? I can't remember.
He is a true freshman, if I'm not mistaken.
And I think one of the biggest things we've seen with true freshmen is throwing interceptions, and he's just kind of avoided that completely this season. And he's kind of really given his team a chance to win every game.
He is coming along very nicely so far. Yeah, UAB, not quite the performance we were expecting. Blacknall held to 97 yards and 21 carries. Still decent. That's 4.6 yards to carry, but could not find the end zone. Could not carry UAB.
Yeah, he had a tough task coming into the season. I don't think he had much of a chance to really have a successful season. And the fact that he's done pretty much what he's done so far, I think, is impressive. It's just there's just not anything around him to help him. He's got no help. Like a lot of good running backs we talked about so far, they have no help.
Yeah. I will say UAB did leave 6 points on the board. 2 missed field goals from Nick Baldwin, both from manageable distances.
What, 36 yards and 31? Yeah.
Like a few seasons ago, I would have said that Rice would have been positioned pretty well to be a good team. I mean, they've pretty much jumped around from the bottom conference for their every single season with the chance to recruit. So it's kind of, I don't know. I see this and I think it's kind of down that they're only 2-2. I would have expected them to schedule their out of conference a little bit better, and then just roll through their conference and be able to, be in a pretty good standing.
Yeah, I mean, 2-2, not exactly the best start for them. To be fair, their losses have come to Power 5 opponents in Michigan State and NC State, but they did upset SMU last week on the road.
That was pretty surprising. I didn't expect that happening after what they've done the first 2 weeks of their first 2 games. Sorry, I didn't expect them to roll into the SMU and win that game. So I think that gave them a lot of confidence going forward, especially into their conference play. So I think we'll see McLean really, really tear it up in CUSA this year.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see how he develops.
I mean, I think going forward, once he gets to the pro level, it'll be hard to appropriately evaluate him given his competition, but he should put up monster stats.
Hopefully. Again, he's coming along, give him some time, but he's definitely managing the game for Rice. All right. Up to Fayetteville, Arkansas, we had a fantastic performance from Sean Sitton and Tyron Chambers as Arkansas blew up Kent State 66-24.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone knows Arkansas is going to pass. They threw it 50 times, and he had 520 yards. So for a volume passer to get over 10 yards an attempt, that's not good for your defense.
Yeah, not at all.
7 touchdowns, 3 of them to Tyrone Chambers, so 255 yards. He had almost half the receiving yards for Arkansas in this game. Those two have a really good connection. I think they'll be pretty good pros each other, too.
Yeah, SEC teams beware. This is a deadly combo here. Kent State did put up 24, albeit 2 of those touchdowns came in stoppage time from John Garland. Quinn Benson found himself all over the field with 14 tackles. But without a coach...
He's a tackling machine. I think it's like the second or third time I've noticed him get double-digit tackles in a game.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, and I know at least last week for sure he said at least 2 games of double-digit tackles, which is not something you see very often in the site.
Yeah, I mean, to have 2 players reach double digits in this game is pretty impressive. Well, I guess it's impressive, but
Oh.
when you're running around,
that means your defense is on the field. Yeah,
yeah.
It's hard not to get a bunch of tackles.
I think with a coach and I guess a serviceable defense, this game would have been closer. But yeah, you can't stop Sean Sitton and Tyron Chambers with this.
Defense.
UNLV Ball State. The Rebels recorded their 3rd win this season with a 13-10 win. We're going to start here.
Lucky. Please, Ball State, just get a win. Just one. Just get a win.
I can't figure out why Ball State can't win games like this. They have some talent on there. Austin Law's a pretty good back. Daryl Patterson proved he can be effective, getting a sack, forcing the fumble, and recovering it all at once. But defense couldn't really stop Noel Minor. Couldn't force a turn. Well, never mind. I can't. Yeah, Austin Laws can get the ball going on the ground. Marquise Casey threw another interception.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good in Muncie right now. Not good.
Did nail a 48-yarder to win the game for UNLV, so props to him. but Ball State's got to do better.
There was also 19 penalties during this game, which seems kind of a lot. I don't know. Usually there's just single-digit ones for both teams. Also, 3 fourth-down attempted conversions. Only one of them passed, but it seems like the two teams were pretty desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting to see UNLV throw it 30 times in this one, seeing as Noel Miner's kind of the best player on that.
Been really, really good. Yeah. Well, maybe that's just a way to kind of take some off him and kind of help him out a little bit if you can get something going in the passing game. Kind of let the box not be stacked 9 deep every play. Maybe that was the thought process there.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Do they have a coach?
Oof. It's hard to say. No one that I remember, so there's that.
Yeah, I don't think so. All right, let's go to a fun one here in Durham. Central Michigan looking for the upset against Duke. An entertaining fourth quarter that saw Justin Brunson put the Chippewas in the lead, but they could not convert the 2-point conversion. KJ led them down the field, gets a touchdown pass to Joe McNeil, puts them up, and they do convert via a 2-pointer. Then James Bragg lines it up, attempting the 50-yarder. Cannot hit it. Duke survives 22-19.
So is Central Michigan good, or did Baylor last week just have a bad game, and Duke this week have a bad game? And I can't tell.
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Lamas replaced Mekhi Carr with Justin Brunson, hoping of getting the offense going, and it kind of, sort of, not really worked.
Well, I'm going to give Central Michigan the benefit of the doubt and say that they're kind of decent. I mean, their coach and recruiting's actually been doing pretty well. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe they know what they're doing.
We did see Duke get destroyed last week, and that might have played a role in this game. Having an evening game, kind of a big game for your program to kind of put yourself on the map and then just get absolutely blown out like that. Definitely, I think, could have hurt you a little bit mentally going into this game.
This is the first time I've seen a JUCO transfer Ashawn Ellison appear on a stat sheet, picking off KJ and taking it to the house in the first quarter to put the Chippewas up. And Sebastian Simpson, another guy recruited, also nabbed an interception. So I know I aim for depth in recruiting for CMU, and it seems to be doing just fine. But without a solid receiver, Savon's going to be struggling throughout the year.
Yeah, without any real consistent running game either.
Yeah.
An average quarterback.
I mean, also there's a bit of it's pretty predictable what Duke's going to do. I mean, they're basically doing what UNC did with A.J. Jefferson. They just throw it a lot. So, I mean, you can sort of predict what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Kind of helps
in Duke's history, they've either thrown it 50 times a game or run it 30 times a game. There's no in between. There's no balance with Duke ever in the 5 years they've been around. So I think this is time for them to throw it again.
Oh man, yeah, it's a gritty win for Duke here. All right, helmet stickers. We're gonna start with you, Clem. Who you got?
Oh, I didn't plan. Let me look. You know what? Let's go easy. Let's go Marshawn Miller, running back out of UConn. He had a lot of hype, and I think he kind of disappoints people early in the season, but he's starting to turn around and getting 139 yards, 2 touchdowns on the road to help your team win. That's a big game for a young guy.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, Sproul?
I'm going to be a bit unconventional here and give it to the FIU coach. Was it just a sample? I mean, if you didn't notice in the game, he actually went for it on 4th down, even though they were winning. I guess for that program, wins are few and far between. So when you're up, you want to make it count, especially if it's at home.
Yeah.
All right, it's solid.
Definitely gutsy when you're. I think this might be one of their first wins, if not their first win as a program. So
probably.
I think it's their third or fourth time.
still having the balls to go for it 4th down when you're leading to cement the win. That's gutsy.
Without a doubt. Very nice performance there. I'm surprised none of you went for Curtis Henry, the tight end from Utah State. Finally looking
Yeah, that was close.
great.
Good.
163 yards and 3 touchdowns on 11 receptions. It's the Utah State passing game finally looked good, and it's largely in part to Curtis Henry. I'm actually more inclined to give it to Travis Love, though, for not turning it over, which is something he's very, very prone to doing. But I'll give it to Henry here. All right. So let's go and take a look at these morning games because we have quite a few interesting ones. And we can start by talking a bit about Temple going to Gainesville to take on Florida.
Yeah, Florida has another team that has lost talent and just not replaced it. That's kind of the impost effect of coaching. Tasks there right now. I really like what Temple's done as a program. Started off being one of the worst teams in the league, in the country, and now, being probably should be favored in this game, honestly, even on the road. So it's J.J. Robinson and Ricky Lewis are, again, going to attack this Gator defense from all sides and try and all day long. And I think they'll be pretty successful at doing that.
Yeah, this is basically the tale of two teams. One that used to be sort of a powerhouse that M-Post sort of destroyed, and then Temple coming from the bottom and making it all the way up to being respectable. I think Neo's at Florida now, though, so they'll probably be coming back on the upswing again. And, I mean, they still have some pretty good pieces into their offense. Like, I think Luke Cobb is at Florida.
Is it Florida State? Florida doesn't have many receivers of note, actually. I think it's been kind of an issue with their offense is not having a consistent receiver for it. I think it's Jaden Grant to throw to.
Yeah, I've talked to Neo about this before, and he's just really upset at the lack of depth on his Florida team, and that's definitely going to play a role in this one. I'm interested to see Ethan Newby again. We saw him blow up against Washington. Maybe he makes his mark against Temple. But yeah, I'd be surprised if Temple loses this one. All right. Take a look at Bloomington, Indiana. The Tulsa Golden Hurricanes take on the surprising Indiana Hoosiers, who are 4-0.
I mean, who have they played, though? They played NC State and two other teams I can't remember.
I've got the schedule, so yeah, they played me. They played Georgia Tech, Florida Atlantic, and Bowling Green.
It's like they haven't exactly played a very tough schedule. So 4-0, I think, is a little deceiving, but they should get to 5-0 because Tulsa just
as much as Victor Colbert, the running back for Tulsa, Indiana should roll in this one. Adrian Rupp might have himself a pretty good game. Timothy Cano is a reliable back. Expect better than 38-3 from last week. All right, I'm sure Insparo's dying to make a few comments about this one.
I mean, actually, I'll give Indiana the benefit of they actually do have a few good pieces, and they're not the complete just shit stain that they were a couple of seasons ago. I mean, a couple of seasons ago, they were arguably the worst team in the entire, CFBHC. I mean, they had won 3 games over the course of, I think, 3 seasons, and they lost to Rice, who was the team that was tied for the same number of wins as them. They actually have a few good pieces now. They're recruiting, though. I mean, they're really not being very aggressive at trying to get any top guys. So, I mean, every single year, I mean, I'm going to expect for the couple next seasons, they get to conference play, they're just going to look like crap again. But, I mean, if they can probably schedule smartly in OOC, they might be able to get, up to 6 wins a season or something. But I don't think they'll ever be able to contend, in the Big East.
Yeah, looking at their upcoming schedule. If they can make it to 5-0, their next game is in 2 weeks against Michigan, and we all know what happens in those games.
I mean, even if IU gets to 5-0 non-conference and goes 1-6 in conference, gets 6 wins, I don't think they'll get a bowl game. I mean, going 1-6 in your conference, definitely lower tier at the at-large bids, I think. So they need to get at least 2 wins in conference probably to get a bowl game.
Yeah, I'm looking at the conference schedule, and I think their easiest game is probably Maryland at home.
Which Maryland just beat Bama.
Yeah,
so that's not exactly a game for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, they've got to go on the road to Purdue, Rutgers, Penn State, and Sparty in a year. They'll host Michigan and Ohio State as well as Maryland. It's just
they could very easily go 0-7 in the conference and not be at all surprising.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting here. All right, next one on the list is number 5 Clemson going to Raleigh to take on 3-2 NC State Wolfpack.
That's soon to be 3-3 NC State Wolfpack.
Soon to be 3-3. I'm not even confident. Just straight up, I'm going balls to the wall on this one. It's not going to pan out. I promise you that.
Aggressive trick plays.
Not that far. not that aggressive. That's just ensuring a loss. I at least want to give myself a chance, but
I think the only chance you have is if what's his name? The Clemson quarterback. I can't remember his name all of a sudden.
Jamel Armstrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he really struggles and throws a couple picks, that's really your only chance. Or if for some reason they give the ball to Timmy Marks 30 times.
It's not impossible for them to throw picks. Kamari Cheatham is a pretty solid corner. I'm just waiting for the day Jake Leyva actually makes an impact. The true freshman starting strong safety.
You're asking a lot out of that.
I'm asking a lot, but it's not like I had that. Yeah, I don't have to go into that because we all know the situation there. But yeah, if I lose by less than 35, I'll be happy.
I haven't really been impressed with Clemson's offense at all this year, so I think you could keep it, especially at home, to within 24 and be respectable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm guessing there's going to be maybe about 20-point difference between these two.
Clemson's going to win games with this defense, so if you get to 15 or 14-plus points, I'll be surprised.
Oh, Amari Ruff, don't fail me now. All right.
Ruff can't do much if you've got Blake Price at quarterback still. That's still an issue.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much a given. But, yeah, I need a quarterback, please. All right, from my team to Clem's team, it's Wake Forest taking on Virginia. Wake Forest struggled keeping the ball in their own hands. Palmer's fumbled it a lot. Milner's thrown it away a lot.
Yeah.
And as close as they've been to a few wins, it's just been bad so far.
Yeah, Wake's a team that's never had consistent coaching ever, and that's hurt the recruiting so bad that there's nothing in this team. I mean, you got Elias Milner trying to recreate the magic of Troy McRae and DSJ, but they're not even a sliver of the players those guys are. And you see it. I mean, Palmer has, I think, 2 or 3 lost fumbles. Milner has like 6 interceptions or 7 interceptions. They turn the ball over so much, and they're not efficient with the ball when they have it. It's his offense is so inconsistently bad that you can't count on them to score more than 14 points in a given game, even when scoring 20 or 30 sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes it's the offense giving it away. Sometimes it's just the defense not being able to stop. Like last week against Eastern Michigan. Offense finally put in a respectable game, 35 points. Defense gives up 38.
Yeah.
Could not stop the run. Could not stop Muhammad Lackey. So I'm expecting Virginia to pass all over Wake in this one.
We're actually going to trick plays, so we'll see what happens.
Well, so congrats, Wake Forest, for your first win of the year. Oh, man. All right. Next one up, another ACC team that's struggling, the North Carolina Tar Heels, hosting Texas A&M.
Yeah. I think this is Texas A&M's third ACC Coastal matchup. They played more games in our conference than anyone in the conference has so far.
Yeah, we've played and lost to both Virginia schools.
Yeah. I think they'll win this one, though.
I do, too.
I've got a feeling that North Carolina doesn't have a coach anymore because they switched up their game plan last week and actually looked competent on offense. But that meant Max Laws had, I think, 37 pass attempts, and that's about 8 times too many he should be having.
37. That's about, I said 10 times too many.
Yeah, he's been averaging about 11 or 12 a game coming into last week, and then he threw for 37 times.
Max Law should not be throwing the ball, period. Yeah, I wrote in my preview, if he cannot screw up passes to Justin McCain and Evan Medley, then maybe they have a chance to perform exceptionally well offensively.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a 4.0 tight end. He's got 2 4.5 wide receivers. He's got a 4.5 running back behind him, a solid offensive line. This offense has no reason why it should be brutally bad, and they've been brutally bad so far this season.
I mean, it's not like Texas A&M's been that much better. They looked good against Texas, but ever since it's been a rocky road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's to say it can't be the same here?
And North Carolina does have a really solid defense. I'll go with the upset. I'll go UNC by like 6 at home, and only because it's at home.
Yeah, this one I'm on the fence about. This could go either way. I do think the Aggies will pull it out, mainly because Max Laws is probably going to throw it 30 times a game again, and that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Although this Texas A&M secondary is not very good. Just about anyone can pass on them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Max Laws has a good game. We'll see. I hope not. Let's go to yet another struggling ACC team, the winless Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, taking on the winless San Jose State Spartans.
If Tech loses this game, they should be kicked out of the conference, and I'm saying that as the commissioner.
Yeah, San Jose State is arguably probably one of the worst teams right now.
No David Kaplan, no offense. Theo Link is just a turnover machine.
Yeah. I mean, Tech has depth at safety, and that's literally the only position they're deep at. They have 2 natural wide receivers on the team. They have 2 natural cornerbacks on the team. So they got safeties filling in at wide receiver, safeties filling in at cornerback. I have no idea how Trey has screwed this team up so bad in terms of its depth. I mean.
Oh, yeah, they have 10 safeties?
Yeah. They've got way too many safeties.
Oh. Just like me with quarterbacks. But yeah. This should be a really straightforward win for Georgia Tech. I can't see them losing.
I'll say Tech wins this one by about 14.
Oh, I win it for 25.
It should be 24-10 probably.
Yeah, I don't think
Josh Beckett. I mean, they have 0 running game because Victor Hill is awful. Josh Beckett really has not played well in a single game this year. Even against IU, he struggled. So I don't see him playing well at all really this year. So I think 24-10, this offense is really bad. Really.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as it is, San Jose State's defense is probably worse.
That's probably true. Oh, my God. Kaiser.
Yeah.
Over yet.
There's some stuff going on in that game. I'm just going to leave it to y'all. Let's go to yet another. I'm kidding. Boston College is not struggling at all. 3-0, hosting South Carolina. maybe watch out for them.
I don't know what to think of South Carolina and Jochi. I mean, because I know we've kind of highlighted his recruiting class the last 3 years as being really solid, but games, even in non-conference, they're not winning games. They just can't put it together.
Yeah, Milo Condon has not been great. Largely inconsistent.
He's been good. He's not even been average, really. He's been wildly inconsistent and below average, really, at most times.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a young offensive line and a young running back. So it's not that we can really pin that just on him because he doesn't have much time in the pocket. He doesn't have a running game that can be relied on. There's just not much going for the offense. And BC is ready to eat that up.
However, we don't talk about teams losing a lot of talent. Boston College is definitely one of those teams lost a lot of talent, but they've done a good job of replacing it. So they're not, even though I think at number 3 they're a bit overrated. They should probably be more like 7 or 8 in my opinion, but they're still a top 10 team. Losses.
Yeah. One matchup I want to look out for: Shaw Vereen, the defensive end for South Carolina. He's going up against a 3.5 tackle in Anthony Kerr. Could we see a bit of an impact from him today?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Randy Roberts has really had one game where he looked comfortable in the pocket as a quarterback. So if Vereen can get him shaky, get him moving, and kind of disrupt his timing, then we can definitely see South Carolina keep this game close. Just because this BC team is still good, it doesn't have the feel to it like older BC teams did that they're just going to blow teams out and run away from them. They just don't have that feel to them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Army, they've looked, I'd say, good at best. I mean, they've beaten solid Iowa and Notre Dame teams, but
I don't know if I call Notre Dame solid.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, this is going to be a really close game, I feel.
Closer than it should be.
Yeah, much closer than it should be. BC receivers are going to have their hands full of Gamecock secondary. And, yeah, this is – I'd watch out for this one. If Condon has a good game, South Carolina might be able to win this one.
Yeah, they definitely make it a game more than they should be. I mean, this should not be close, but I think it will be closer than it should be. Just got that feeling about Boston College this year. They're taking a step back for sure.
I'm here calling it 24-13. But
that's about right. I think BC would put up lower points. I think it'd be about 28-13. I think they'll put the 4 touchdowns, but yeah, I think that's about right.
All right. Next game up on the slate is an SEC East battle between Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yeah, there isn't much to talk about here. Tennessee is going to wipe them out. This isn't even going to be much of a game.
Yeah, Kentucky, they've played Houston, Cincy, and Minnesota, getting creamed in the last one.
And I think Tennessee's better than Minnesota.
Yeah, I can agree there. The game being in Knoxville doesn't help much either. This is going to be bad. I really don't have much to talk about here.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tennessee's going to win by 3 touchdowns plus. And their defense is really going to shut down Kentucky pretty hard.
Do you have anything to add here in Spiral? Maybe does Kentucky have any prayer?
I don't know about 3 touchdowns plus. I mean, Tennessee's definitely going to win this, but like Julius Thomas, I mean, he's been all right, but not super amazing. I don't know if they really have the passing. I mean, generally when you get scores up that high, you have a really strong passing attack. And I mean, Julius Thomas has been throwing for typically over 200 yards a game or so, but really hasn't thrown from that too many touchdowns. So I don't know. I think they win, but not by 3 scores.
And I want to say 3 scores because I think the defense is going to hold Kentucky to like 3 points. So you're only asking offense to score 24. do that at home against this Kentucky defense.
Yeah, Tennessee's defense is certainly one of the stronger suits of their team, and Kentucky's not exactly an offensive powerhouse. Kentucky's going to struggle to move the ball. All right, and last game in the morning, the Michigan Cupcake Trail continues as they host Akron.
And again, Michigan plays a nobody team. They'll blow them out. Everyone will say, oh, Michigan looks so good, but they play nobody again.
They
consistently have one of the weakest strength of schedules in non-conference play, year in, year out.
Yeah. They did struggle a bit with North Texas. Again, giving up a pair of sacks to Javier Grady. Gabriel Bouchamp could have a similar performance, and Akron's offense is much better than North Texas. So maybe there's a chance. But this game being in the Big House, Michigan about to enter conference play, I don't see them losing. Not
No,
yet.
I see them win by about 20 points probably.
20 seems about
Yeah,
right.
I think Michigan wins, but I don't think this is a game to pay much attention to. It's
No.
another cupcake.
Yeah, Akron's got some talent, but it's not going to be enough in this one. All right, do you guys want to go to the afternoon games, or you want to maybe look at a couple players that play tonight?
We can do whatever we want. It's our show.
All right, then, Clem, I'm going to give the floor to you here.
Well, as for the evening game, my guy to watch is definitely going to be running back Evan Grant at home against the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's always going to have a tough defense. Evan Grant has really torn up the season, but I don't know that they've played defensive teams. I think it's going to be their first real test, at least on the defensive side of the ball. So I really like to see what he would do against his Bulldog defense tonight. See if he can get to 150 yards, get a couple touchdowns, and help lead his team to victory.
Yeah, Georgia State, they've been good, but they've also picked up points against North Texas, Louisville, and San Jose State. Evan Grant wasn't the best against Duke in that loss, and Georgia's, I'd argue, is much better.
Yeah.
So if he can put up at least 120 and find the end zone once or twice, then
he should get his team a chance to win because Georgia's offense is not explosive at all. They sometimes struggle to get points on the board. So if you get your running back to give you a couple touchdowns, and if you can get your quarterback, whose name escapes me, James Jordan?
James Jordan.
Yeah, get him to give you maybe a couple hundred yards passing and touchdown himself, then you have a chance to win. That would certainly be a huge win for this program.
Oh, without a doubt. This is a huge game for Georgia State. If they can pull it off, then wow. All right, in Spiral, do you have any one player you have your eye on tonight?
So the one player, probably Marcus Williams from Nebraska, the running back. I think he's probably going to be a really, really good running back once he ends up going into the NFL and we get a closer look at his draft profile and everything on his pro day. But I would have him pretty up high on my list if I was a GM of what he can do. I mean, he consistently gets over 100 yards a carry in that, so I'd have my eye on him. Or not a carry, a game. But.
Yeah, just to say, carry, that's really good.
That's fantastic.
No, yeah. And I think he's going to have to be really good tonight if he wants to beat Purdue. I think Purdue is just slightly better than Nebraska.
I don't know. I think Purdue is pretty good. I'm a little bit biased, but I think we're a bit overrated. The defense hasn't really been against games like Memphis and that, so I don't know. I'm a little bit scared about it, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the defense hasn't been great so far. I'm going to cite Tulane here because that's the obvious example, but I don't know. Sean Hamilton, Marcus Williams could be a handful.
The only issue I have with the passing game in Nebraska is they lost their top 3 receivers and didn't really have much in store to replace them. So I think that gives Purdue a chance to kind of maybe shut down part of the Nebraska offense to latch on those receivers and give Hamilton no one to throw to. Try to make him one-dimensional.
Yeah, making Nebraska one-dimensional is a huge step in beating them, without a doubt. One guy I've got my eye on, speaking of good running backs, by the way, is the running back from Mississippi State, Terrence Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we saw Virginia Tech handle Brett Fisher and Richard Holden on the ground last week, but Terrence Rogers is a different animal entirely.
Yeah, he's an actual running back.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Forgot Holt was a fullback for a second. But yeah, last time the ACC saw Terrence Rogers, he was running over the Noles in the first half, leading the Bulldogs to a 14-0 lead that they eventually blew. I'm not entirely sold on the Virginia Tech defense. Miami, sure, they've got one of the best quarterbacks in the country right now, but they have nothing else.
They have no receivers. Yeah, they got no receivers, and really not even a really good running game with them either. So, for Fisher show,
it's not quite the same with Mississippi State. This game being in Starkville, by the way. Not a great quarterback, but a pretty solid offensive line, pretty good fullback. And Terrence Rogers is just really fast.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone for over 350 yards this season. He's got 4 rushing touchdowns as well so far.
Yeah, just 3 games. So I think he is going to look really good against Virginia Tech. And I'm calling the upset in this one, too. If we call it an upset.
What, Mississippi State at home against Virginia Tech? I wouldn't call that an upset.
Wait.
I think Mississippi State's a better team.
I forgot Mississippi State was ranked. Hold on. I need to change that. I can't believe I missed that. Afternoon games today. There we go. All right, first afternoon game on the slate is SMU at TCU. This one could be interesting.
I mean, last year TCU blew out SMU 40-0 in this game. I don't know. Before last week, I would have said SMU would definitely be the favorite, but after what they did against Rice, I don't really know what to think about this game now.
I know. I picked TCU to win because I think if SMU wins, Time will just be more obnoxious about it than Danger would. So I'm going to pick TCU.
This game's interesting because TCU has just not looked good this year. But SMU kind of laid the egg against Rice. With the game being in Fort Worth, I'm going to give a slight edge to TCU. But I can see either team winning this game by at least 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I know, again, I've been saying this a lot all season, but the TCU defense is not playing anywhere up to what we expected them to play at and what they should be at given their ratings and the talent of the defense. So I think you have to discount the defensive factor for TCU because it just isn't been performing. So it's really to look at offense versus offense. And if we're going that way, I'm taking SMU's offense over TCU every day of the week.
Yeah. But that said, SMU's defense is not exactly the best either.
You don't need a good defense to stop Nathan Burton. He'll stop himself.
Fair enough. That's a pretty good point. As bad as TCU's defense, as lackluster as TCU's defense has been so far, there were a couple times last year that was also the case, and yet they blanked Andre Webb in this SMU offense. Not going to say the same thing here, but I think if there's a game for this defense to step up, it would be now.
And also, last year, though, the defense was playing at elite level, well, not elite, but at an aggressive level early on in the season, whereas this year underperforming and underwhelming. So I don't know if there's really a time this defense is going to turn it around.
Well, I mean, there's a chance. Well, if there's going to be a game where they can turn it around, I think it'd be this one. That's my thought on it.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. Arrowhead Stadium will host East Carolina and Kansas.
Another weird neutral site game.
Yeah. Why Storm would volunteer for a game in Missouri, I don't know.
Maybe since he couldn't beat Missouri, this is a way of winning a game in Missouri.
Maybe, yeah. He did get a win last year, so I'll give him that. Yeah, East Carolina is severely overmatched in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kansas wins. I mean, I've never really been that high on Kansas though, so I don't think they win by as much as people might say they will, but they win.
I don't know. Eli Toitama could have a decent game, but he's not going to carry this offense at all. Liam Carver is still the starter, and he's not exactly the most efficient.
But you can never count out Eric Jennings being a turnover machine. He just has a tendency sometimes to just throw the ball away a couple times on stupid plays. And if he does that and ECU holds onto the ball and runs the clock, they have a shot.
Oh, without a doubt. If Jennings looks like old Jennings and Liam Carver does not look like old Liam Carver, then I'd give ECU a decent but not great chance. And have we seen the new coach for ECU in action yet?
Who's the new coach?
That Weeze
I think
guy.
it starts with a W.
I don't think so.
So what a game to start off with. All right. The Dylan Bishop Show returns to college football as they take on BYU in Provo.
I got to go with Hughes here. I just don't trust BYU's team at all. I just don't trust. I don't know how to put it other than I just don't trust them to win games against big opponents. And Dylan Bishop has been probably the second or third best quarterback in the ACC so far and completely blown everyone away. So I think he'll continue to do that.
Yeah, I'd go with Syracuse too. I want to believe that Dylan Bishop, I think he's like a 3.5 or something. Someone with that sort of ranking can be pretty awesome. So I want to keep the dream alive.
I think he's a 4.4.
4.4 senior JUCO transfer.
Oh, it's JUCO.
Yeah. First year in the program.
Yeah. BYU's a step up from Western Kentucky, San Diego State. Not quite as good as Georgia's defense, or maybe even Utah's. And he looked decent against Georgia, better against Utah. I don't trust this offense for BYU. And going up against a pretty solid Syracuse defense as of late for the Orange. I just want to see more of Dylan Bishop, please.
Yeah, he's one of the three players in ACC to average 10 yards to carry. So he's killing it on the ground, too.
He is, I think in my opinion, he's one of, if not the most exciting player in the ACC right now. Or not the ACC, college football.
Yeah. I mean, he's every single play, he's doing something entertaining, something exciting. He's never boring.
What might be boring is this, might be boring is this showdown between Texas Tech and Texas. Both teams kind of on a downturn here. Texas Tech relying solely on defense, still off the 1-3 start. Texas, no Brad Davis. Offense has been struggling a bit.
They're relying on a true freshman running back to carry the offense. Um, this is a tough one because Texas Tech has no offense at all, but they've still got a really solid defense. And Texas's main real offensive, performer or leader is a true freshman running back. So I don't know who to pick this game. I have no idea who's going to win this game.
Would you put the over-under on points scored at maybe 25?
That would probably be a little too high even for an over-under.
I don't know.
And neither team can really score.
I can't see Texas hitting double digits, to be honest.
I could see it if Simeon Wells can break one for a touchdown and they can maybe get into field goal range, but I don't see them getting more than points. If they get more than 14, I'll be surprised.
Yeah. As for Texas Tech's offense, can they muster up anything?
Well, the Texas defense isn't exactly elite anymore, but Texas Tech's offense hasn't played any good defenses, and they've still struggled.
Yeah, only putting up 12 against Oklahoma State last week.
Yeah, that's scary.
And 2 of those came off the safety, by the way. Yeah, this game I don't know if I have a proper pick for it. I think I'm going to have to go with home field advantage and give it to Horns, but I can't really tell.
So, yeah, I'd probably say Texas is favored, and I'd probably pick them to win, but I don't feel good about it.
Oh, not at all. I don't feel good about picking any team. I know. I'm definitely. I think I'm going to take the under though on points scored. If I'm setting it at 25.
Whatever the over/under is at, if it's over/under is in a 22+ range, I'm taking the under for sure.
All right. Another interesting matchup here. Fresno State taking on the Wildcats of Arizona in Tucson. This one's so.
Yeah.
Brian
Harris. Yeah.
They're coming to play. And it looked,
very, very good duo, yeah.
They looked really good against Iowa. And Iowa doesn't exactly have bad defense.
Oh, no. I would say Iowa's defense is better than Arizona's. And I think their offense is better than Arizona's, too. I'd like Fresno in this game, on the road even.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of Arizona so far. 1-3, definitely. I think they're better than 1-3, but they've also played Tennessee, Texas Tech, Stanford, Ohio State. Really tough opening stretch. Doesn't get any easier at Fresno State. I got to go Fresno here. I don't know if they can stop Sam Hilloween.
I don't think they can.
Yeah, I'd go with Arizona here too. I think Arizona's had, as you said, kind of a tough schedule.
All right. The 22nd ranked Wolfpack of Nevada taking on winless Miami, Ohio in Oxford.
Give me Nevada by 20.
Getting 25, Nevada.
Yeah, I still think Miami's offense is going to put up more than 10 points on this defense. I mean, I can only put up 13 on them.
I'm going to go the opposite direction, and I'm just gonna say why not Miami. I'm gonna say Miami wins. 'Cause why not?
If Miami still had Douglas Graham, I'd give him a chance. But
I can't. Do we still have Melvin Grubbs? Wide receiver.
Why can I not remember this?
I mean, if they do, he's been super quiet.
I gotta look through because I don't know if they actually posted a depth chart. No, they haven't because I looked last week.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think they have a coach right now. So, All right, Melvin Grubbs is there, and he's only a 3 of 3, so maybe he has a right to be quiet. But okay, consider this. Consider this. Miami only put up 14 on Cincinnati.
Wow.
Nevada's a different beast entirely.
Nevada's defense is legit.
I'm going to go on a ropes here and say Nevada shuts them out.
I don't like predicting home teams to get shut out, so I'll say they get a field goal. But I don't think they get any sustained offensive success at all or possession.
I'll say they win by 2 points.
Boy, the safety 2-0. That'd be the best game ever.
Please. I mean, the only team I can think of that got shut out at home was NC State last year against, guess who? Miami of Ohio.
Wow.
All right. Iowa State's one loss came to Oregon. Now they take on little brothers from Corvallis, the Beavers of Oregon State.
The really, 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 really little brothers.
Tiny.
The almost infant brothers.
Yeah. Iowa State's just going to steamroll them. Oregon State's not that great.
I would say Oregon State might be the worst Power 5 team in the country. Power 5 team that reaches their depth of misery.
Yeah, out of the Power 5 teams, that's probably a pretty good pick.
Yes. I can't think of anyone else.
The only other team I can think that could maybe match them would be Wake Forest.
At least Wake Forest has come close in a couple games.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say Oregon State's worse than Wake Forest.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's close. So I'm not even worried about picking this game. I'm more worried about seeing who has a bigger impact, Archer Pacheco or Clifford Wilcox.
I think in a game like this, if you're Iowa State, you just you run the clock, you get this game over quick, you run the ball. So I think Pacheco will get normal. We'll see him put up some more yards than normal. Right.
I think Pacheco is probably going to have a pretty big stat sheet. I mean, this is one of those games where it's just stuffing the stats for a player or something that's going to, maybe be a Heisman candidate or something. So I think they're just going to hand him the ball off, and they're not going to take their foot off the gas pedal and just keep giving it to him to give him some good stats.
Do we get Pacheco more than 200?
Yeah, I think he can get there. If you get 25-plus carries, you can get to 200. Runs, I think he can do it.
All right. I'll give him 220. All right. Struggling Washington takes on a Cal team that's off to a surprising 3-0 start. Two teams going in very different directions, I feel.
Yeah, Washington. I don't know what it is about Washington. Look at this, their team, and they're not bad. What they need to do differently. I don't know if it's they're using the wrong scheme offensively. I don't know if it's just that Julius McIntosh just isn't very good. For them.
Their schedule hasn't been light.
Easy. They play a tough schedule.
Yeah. Lost at Kansas, won in New Mexico, lost at home to Florida and Utah. So on the road in Cal, I got to give it to the Golden Bears, but yeah, I have no idea what has to be done differently there. All right. Last game in the slate, Washington State taking on West Virginia.
Oh, another tough one for Washington State to pick. Last week against Air Force, I took Washington State in that game. And I don't know, West Virginia isn't a very good team, but they're a team that on any given week can explode offensively and just drop points on you. Still, I think I'll take Washington State in a
shootout.
34-24, so a mini shootout.
Okay, that's it. West Virginia still hasn't played a true road game, actually. All of our games have been either at home or, in the case of Missouri, in a neutral site. That'll continue for the next 2 weeks, actually. Yeah, we haven't seen them. Have we seen the offense really go off yet?
Not like they did last year. They've been relatively tame so far this year. I think that's been the biggest issue with offense is inconsistency on the performance. They're just never consistently good.
Yeah. J.C. Weldon's has underachieved severely so far. And I don't.
Well, it's amazing what playing against a Conference USA schedule and a regular schedule will do for your performance.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't think that's going to change against Washington State. I want to take the Cougars in Morgantown, but I don't know. This could go either way.
I think I think this is gonna be my last pick because I gotta get going to the airport. But I think I'm gonna pick West Virginia here just to stick it to the WSU coach.
That's very fair. So, thank you, Inspiral, for joining us, and take care of your flight.
All right, peace out, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Then there were two once more. We're going to run this for about 40 more minutes. Games are probably going to be at 6, 9, 12 if you haven't missed Selena's announcement. So
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk
where are
playoff?
we
I
at
think we got some time to talk about playoff.
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of time to talk about playoff, and I actually have not edited my bracket since the last week, and that needs editing.
Well, I've got mine. I downloaded the prep sheet, so I got mine on my hard drive, so you can't see it.
Yeah,
So we got surprise factor because I can't see yours because it's got all the prep sheet open online. So we've got that going for us. Complete surprise for each other.
yeah, I have a feeling we're going to be surprised, or quite a few surprises. Let me I've got 3 more to put down. I'm really not editing all that much. You can start on your number 8 because I think we're just going to go that way.
Yeah, 8. I'll throw Nebraska in there. I think they'll lose to Purdue tonight in a very close one. Stay high on the ranking. Well, they're 16 now, so they'll probably drop to 20, 21. But I think they'll fight their way back. And if they finish the season undefeated from here on out after tonight, finish second in the Big Ten West, I think they'll get in, sneak it in. So I think the winner of the Big Ten East, I don't think is going to get in. State and Ohio State, one of those teams will have at least one loss entering the Big Ten championship. So I think Ohio State already has 2 losses on the season. So,
all right, I can see it. I actually don't have a team for number 8 right now. I'm struggling. I'm gonna go with. I think if the schedule were to play out, I normally do right now, but I think I'm going to go with what I think is going to happen. And I'm going to put, where's the prep sheet? Here it is. Iowa State at number 8. I think they'll win out.
okay.
Yeah, already surprises.
Have they played Kansas yet?
They have played Kansas, and they have
Have they
won.
played Kansas yet?
Kansas?
Okay, then I should probably place Kansas Iowa State. I forgot they played already.
Yeah, Iowa State
I
won
had Kansas in my considering. So I'll put Iowa State in considering instead of Kansas.
In 2 weeks, Iowa State has their biggest game at home against Minnesota. If they can win that, I don't see a reason they can't win out and play in the Big 12 championship game, let alone win.
But do you think they win that game?
I think they can. I don't think Texas Tech, Texas, or TCU will make it, which means we're choosing between Oklahoma State, who I don't think can slow down Pacheco, or Baylor, who has been inconsistent, really. Great against the
Is
SEC
Oklahoma not
teams.
playing in the South?
No, Oklahoma's in the North.
Where's Oklahoma then? Oh, okay.
Iowa State plays Oklahoma in Norman, but I think they can win that one as well. Yeah, I got Iowa State taking number 8 for now.
Okay.
And you said your number 8 was Nebraska, right?
Yes.
All right, I'm just going to say my number 7 is Nebraska for many reasons that Clem has already stated. I still need Nebraska to get a signature win. That's the one thing that is hanging over them right now, and they can get it tonight against Purdue.
Yeah, but I actually I think they'll lose. So, but for my number 7, sorry.
Okay, good. Well, I meant they did win the game in Purdue last year. I don't see any reason why they can't do it again this year.
And I think they've been better than they were last year. But so at number 7, I've got Tennessee. I don't see them dropping a game in the conference. I think the SEC East is having a significant down season outside of Tennessee, really. So I think they'll get to the SEC championship game undefeated. Well, they'll probably lose to Bama. So I think they should still, even if they lose that game, finish in the top 8, go to the playoffs at 12-1.
I mean, outside of Georgia, because I don't think Georgia's having a down year, really. They've been competitive.
I think for them, even offensively, they're having a down year.
That's
so I think that's the biggest issue is offensively.
Tanner did look better against Penn State than he did against Tennessee. So I will give him that. But yeah, I'm not entirely sold on any team in the East, really. But someone's got to win that division. I'll get to that in a moment. So who do you have at number 6?
6, I've got Clemson. I think what we've seen from Florida State so far is that they're just a slight notch ahead just because of how good their offense has been as compared to Clemson's. The only single in-season loss is going to be to Florida State. So at 11-1, I think they'll get in there at 6.
Right. Well, my number 6 is Clemson. I can't really say anything different. Offense has to pick it up high. If they can pick it up, then they're going to give Florida State run for money. But at 11-1, they should be easy wins.
Yeah, that should be a really good game.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for that one. That one is in game is in Clemson, but that's not until week 14.
Well, that's gonna be a nice late season matchup then.
Oh yeah, both teams will have already played in Chestnut Hill against Boston College by then.
And I see them both winning that game.
Yeah. Well, I can't. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Your number. Well, no, I'll go with my number 5. And it is Oregon. I keep showing them up every week. Yeah, Pac-12 is going to lose a team eventually, but I think Oregon and Southern Cal are going to split their games, with Southern Cal taking title in the championship game, of course. But yeah, Oregon didn't look as impressive against North Carolina as I predicted, but that defense is still something to be feared of. Well, defensive line. And Trevon Yeldon did look solid. He's going to be the workhorse of that offense. I don't see Oregon slipping up yet. I just don't see it. I can sense
5,
your,
I just don't believe in Oregon. If we're going to take a Pac-12 team, and I'll get to mine later, but I just don't think it's Oregon.
I mean, there's probably going to be a case of we drop a game they shouldn't, and then I'll probably move them out. But compared to the rest of the field right now, I don't know. Maybe having them at number 5 is too high, but I have them above Clemson, Nebraska, and Iowa State. That's really all I can say about it.
Yes, you do.
Stating facts.
So my number 5 team is Oklahoma. I don't know. There's something about Ted in Oklahoma that when they've got their quarterback going, they've got some sort of running game. And this running game's not great this year, but I think right now their offense is in a better spot than was last year. I think right now they're heads and tails better than they were at this point last season. So I'll take the experience of Ted with Oklahoma over Iowa State to win the Big 12 North and win the Big 12 outright.
Right, fair pick. They do have to go to Lawrence and take on Kansas, but they do get Iowa State at home, so that could be an exciting finish to the North.
And I'm just not that high in Kansas. I just, again, get the feeling with that team that they're going to drop games that they shouldn't, and it how really to their standards or to their talent and potential at times.
That's fair. Yeah, your case of Oklahoma is kind of my case on Oklahoma is kind of your case of Oregon, but Oklahoma is at least a little more understandable. My number 4 team is going to be Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, surprise. I've really just been moving up my top group since Bama lost. Tennessee's defense is good. There's no hiding that. Julius Thomas and Nikita Crow can have good games, but they can also be average. But that defense has been good throughout.
Yeah.
That's easily going to win the East, and I think that'll be enough to actually beat Bama. Because after Maryland game, I'm not entirely sold on that offense.
That's true. That was kind of a disappointing, surprising loss.
And you know why? Outside of William Anderson, Weston doesn't have that many guys to throw to. Maryland has a decent secondary. If there's a name I remember, it's like Abdullah Allen or something.
I think Maryland's secondary is okay.
Well, an okay secondary beat Bama there. So
That's true.
If I can find it, because I know who I'm looking for. I covered him earlier. It is Abdullah Aiken, 4'4" cornerback. Apparently did enough to hold out William Anderson. If they can do that, I'm afraid to see what Tennessee can do. Tennessee's currently my pick to win the SEC, but the SEC feels down right now.
Okay.
All right. You did not say your number 4, so it's up to you now.
I have USC. I think USC will beat Oregon in the regular season. I just think they're a better team, just top to bottom. Outside of the defensive line, I think Oregon wins that matchup, but everywhere else, I think USC really wins. I think they'll beat them if they meet in the Pac-12 championship game. I think USC will drop one game they probably shouldn't this season, just because that's Dream's for. But I still think that they'll win the Pac-12 and go 12-1, go into the playoffs to be number 4.
Outside of maybe Arizona or Auburn, I don't see them dropping that game. Well, Oregon aside. But they've already played Maryland, and they've won. They played Ohio State, and they've won. They got by Colorado. So there's a good chance they can run the table going to the Pac-12 championship game. But as I said, I think they will lose to Oregon the first time. Just on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Southern Cal's passing games?
I'd probably put it at a 7.5 or an 8.
Okay.
I really like Luke Trickett.
Because Luke Trickett looks average against, guess who? Maryland.
I'm saying I beat Maryland. I beat that secondary. I don't think they're anything special.
It's also fair, but
they were kind of pretty solid game.
They're 1-1 against teams that have been in the top 5 this year. And they've done a fantastic job of beating out Weston and Trickett. So yeah, maybe Bama was a fluke. Maybe it was just Maryland secondary. Because Southern Cal is just more evidence to that case. But yeah, this is a pretty good offense. This is a pretty good team in general. I just don't know if they can drop a game outside of Oregon. And by the way, my number 3 is Southern Cal, so I don't have to go forward on that anymore. So you're number 3.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good feeling.
It's going to be Alabama. I still, for me, when it comes down to at the end of the day with Alabama is, yes, they lost to Maryland. I think it's a fluke game. I think what we'll see in the SEC is coaching wins that conference. it's not that I don't think Sage is a good coach. I think Sage is a very good coach. I think Randy's an elite coach, probably one of the best in the sim. So I think he will, in no time, have this offense fixed and working again, and I think they'll win that game against Tennessee, even though without Tennessee's defense is very, very, very good.
All right, let me see. Do they play? Surprisingly, they don't play Tennessee in the regular season. So they have a tough game tonight in Baton Rouge.
Yep.
They do have to play Arkansas and Sean Sitton. And they'll have to play Terrence Rogers and Mississippi State. Think about those last two, both at home. And then they have the game.
And both offense, I think Arkansas and Mississippi State are kind of one-dimensional teams in opposite ways. So I think that from coaching standpoint, kind of makes your job a little easier.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Mississippi State was kind of the same last year with Will Fuller, and that was a one-touchdown game in Tuscaloosa. Well, I mean, Starkville. Sorry. So we'll see what happens there. My number 2 is going to be the Penn State Nittany Lions, coming in clutch against Georgia, hitting Ricky Vega with a 31-yard pass to win it. So not the most impressive, but it shows they have a mettle to win close games against good opponents.
So then do you have Penn State winning the Big Ten, like the championship game?
Yeah, I do have Penn State winning a Big Ten right now.
Okay.
I'm not – Purdue's defense has concerns. Michigan,
absolutely,
we know nothing about because they've played really weak competition and struggled kind of in North Texas.
Yeah.
Nebraska, I'm still searching for a signature win
also
there.
They've also kind of played some of a weaker schedule as well.
Yeah. Penn State, I mean, while they haven't looked the most impressive, they held Arizona State to a field goal. They beat Georgia down south. And they won on the road in Columbus against Ohio State. We'll see more of them tonight against Pitt, which I think they will win. And then they too will go up against Maryland in College Station. But most of their bigger games are...
Well, no, that elite Maryland secondary is going to hold them down.
I'm not saying they're elite. I'm just saying they're tricky. They're tricky. They get Michigan State and Rutgers at home. Their big game with Michigan is in the Big House. But Michigan's got arguably a tougher conference schedule, going at Maryland, at Nebraska, at Michigan State. And they still have Ohio State to go through. I think Penn State is going to win the conference.
Okay. I disagree. Because at number 2, I have Purdue, who I think will beat Penn State in the Big Ten championship game. Again, I know I don't have any stats backers up or anything, but I just got a feeling with C.J. Sheffield and Matt Jones and that whole just Purdue D. I know the defense has had issues. They've been very surprisingly bad at times. But at the same time, I just like their offense so much that I think at times, even though their defense might give up a few points more than they should, I think the offense can overcome it and win out.
Yeah, I have made – the only reason I don't have Purdue in my top 8 – they're number 9, by the way, in mine. The only reason I don't have them there is because of that defense. But I can agree their offense can play with anybody. So that's why I have them right outside. Now, I don't think we have any questions about number 1.
Yeah, so far I think it's pretty clear it's Florida State.
Yeah. With number 1 going down, number 2 takes control. Florida State looks fantastic. Going into Durham last week and absolutely manhandling the Devils.
Yeah, it's Florida State season to lose so far.
All right, any notable teams in your considering list that you'd like to mention?
I do have Penn State number 9. I do like them as a team. I think at number 2, I think they're number 2, right? That to me feels way too high. I'll drop Oregon there at 10, Iowa State 11, Baylor 12, Nevada 13. I think that's really those 13 teams are probably going And if I had to put a 14 team down, it'd probably be Minnesota if they got a couple upsets late in the season.
That's fair. I don't have any. Like order to my considering list outside of Purdue at number 9 and Alabama at number 10. My one concern of Alabama is surprise offense. They have to get something going on the ground game because Chase Dillard.
Yeah, that's true. I'd agree with that.
Chase Dillard is not Nathan Wilson, and Nathan Wilson wasn't even that good.
He wasn't not good. It's just that he was consistent.
Yeah,
that's what you could rely on to get his points and his yardage game.
Yeah, I have Michigan sitting there at 10 or 11. Not even 11. I just have Michigan sitting there. I want to see them play teams. Nevada is up here.
Yeah, you can't discount that defense ever.
Yeah, and again, we've talked about this before. I can talk about it again. What they do against Fresno State, to me, determines if they should go to that. Should be close to the playoffs. Brandon, next week is Hawaii, and then Virginia Tech, and then Utah State. Utah State suddenly looks like a good game.
Yeah.
So that's a very important stretch. Then Fresno State 2 weeks before the regular season finale against UNLV. And then likely a meeting of Air Force. So it's not like Alabama will go through an easy slate and the end of playoffs like Houston did last year. Nevada will be battle tested.
Yeah, I think Nevada will have a good enough schedule that if they can win out, they should have a legit case to make the playoff. Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus, you can't really leave Akil Morris out of the playoff discussion, can you?
No, you can't.
All right. Other than that, it's kind of the same. BC's there, Baylor, Kansas, Minnesota, Oklahoma. For normal teams.
See, I wouldn't put BC in there because I think they're going to lose to both Florida State and Clemson. So I think those 2 losses regular season, not getting close to winning your conference championship, I think that should exclude you for the most part. And I think it will exclude them. And I think they'll –
It should.
I know Iowa State stuck in last – They also had a crazy run to end the season. I think BC's losses are going to come later in the season than Iowa State's losses did too.
BC's losses. If BC's going to lose those games, it'll be week 10 and 12, which arguably is
actually
Iowa State's. And
the
one thing, if Syracuse does pan out to be super good, then they have a chance of redemption there in week 15.
I don't think Syracuse is super good. I think they're playing outside of their minds right now. And if they can do that against BC, they have a very, very good chance to win that game.
Yeah. But if Syracuse does pan out to be as good as they are right now, and maybe knocks out either Clemson or Florida State, which isn't impossible. They did Florida State last year. Then maybe that could be a signature win for BC, and maybe that's enough to propel them close to that top 8. And conference championships go. We saw it with TCU last year, which allowed Iowa State to sneak in. I would not rule them out if they lose to Clemson and Florida State, both of which are at home, by the way.
Yeah, I still like Florida State and Clemson in those games.
I do too, but I'm saying both of those are home, so they have a solid chance at those. All right, 2:43.
We're not under any real time delay. We can go over past 3 if we need to talk about evening games.
Yeah. Actually, let's go and do that now. Talk about evening games. Let's say predictions.
Yeah. I wrote mine down, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of winging it aside from the ACC games. So first one up is an ACC game. Virginia Tech going on the road to take on Mississippi State.
Virginia Tech, last year was a little controversial. Redshirted 3 or 4 guys who should have started the team last year with the hope of they'll be much better, and it's worked. They're a better team this year, no doubt. I don't like him in this game on the road against Mississippi State. I think Terrence Rogers is going to tear up this defense. And as good as Matthew Dobbs has been at times in the past, mostly 2 years ago when he had Jerry Shaw-Dodd, he just hasn't quite been that good this season. And he has to be that good this season for them to win this game. I don't think he will. So I think Mississippi State wins by 7 points, touchdown at home.
Yeah, you about summed up my thoughts on this. Terrence Rogers is really good. I don't think Virginia Tech's front 7 can stop him. James Richardson is a pretty good target for Dobbs. No, I'm wrong. James Richardson is a target for Mississippi State. I'm just reading this and trying to find stuff. Who's the guy?
Virginia Tech's leading receiver is probably Joseph Dickerson.
That's the guy. Why is
and he's okay. He's nothing special. He's not JSD. He's not gonna blow the back off the defense. He's not gonna run past everybody, but he'll get his 7 catches for 80 yards and touchdown here and there. He's a solid player, but he's not an elite level receiving threat that Matthew Dobbs has had 2 years ago. Where he really excelled as a quarterback.
It's sort of a Brett Fisher case, but not nearly as extreme.
Oh no, he's a little bit better position than Brett Fisher is.
Yeah. While he's not a JSD, Mississippi State does not have a guy like what's his name? Thomas Peterson? The corner from last year?
Patterson. Thomas Patterson.
Yeah. So I wouldn't exactly say it's going to be a walk in the park for Mississippi State's defense here.
Oh, it's not going to be. I think it'll be both teams will always score in the 30s, but I think Mississippi State gets a 7-point win.
I'm going below. I'm saying both get in the 20s, and I do think Bulldogs pull out. One guy you should keep an eye out on that hasn't been brought up all that often this year, Patrick Glass, the receiving tight end for the Bulldogs. Again, weaker front 7, weaker linebackers.
Yeah.
We could see a lot of throwing to Patrick Glass today.
A lot of checkdowns, a lot of quick outs, definitely get him involved.
All right. Showdown in Norman between the Sooners and the Spartans of Michigan State. What do we make of this party after last week?
Well, I think they got really exposed last week for just not being all that good. They're very one-dimensional offense. Randy Martin is never going to be a player they can rely on to help take the load off the quarterback. I think that plays right into Oklahoma, who I think is more balanced than the beginning of the season. So I think Oklahoma will take away a 10-point plus win here at home.
Yeah, Michigan State's ground game did not look good against Jamel Trufant. Oklahoma, they don't exactly have that same force on the ground, but they are more balanced, without a doubt. I do think that makes this game a little closer, though. Oklahoma should be able to stop Kyle Davidson in the air. Should be.
Yeah.
Not rolling out, though.
Yeah. Michigan State does have good receivers. It's just I don't know. It's just sometimes I get the feeling with Kyle Davis that he just doesn't connect well with those receivers. They don't always have it on the same page, and they don't always kind of see eye to eye on the field.
Yeah, I would not chalk out a Michigan State upset in this one, but I do got to favor Oklahoma by at least 6. Maybe we can see something come from Sparty. Little rivalry going here. Number 2, Penn State takes Pittsburgh at Heinz Field.
This is my upset of the week. I think Pittsburgh's going to win this game. I think it'll be a very, very, very close game. I think it might even be an overtime kind of game. But I think we'll see Pittsburgh come out here and they're going to control the clock with the running game. We got Rodrigo Rogers and Grant McConnell both like to run the ball. They still have that monster-headed trio of receivers at Goodson, Ritter, and Coles. You know, they've got McBride, Khalil Williams, Abe Rock, Corey Davis on defense. So I think Pitt has everything that you need to beat Penn State, and I think they can do that.
You mentioned the receivers. I'm just not confident enough in McConnell's arm to get it to them.
Oh, that's absolutely fair. I mean, they have those guys. They haven't done a good job of utilizing those players this season. It's been one of my biggest gripes with their offense so far is how those three players have been neglected.
Yeah, Coles is going to have a rough battle with Cameron Marshall out wide. But if McConnell can get it to them, especially down deep where the safeties are not Penn State's strong suit, then I 100% give Pittsburgh this win. Penn State did okay stopping Isaac Wilson on the ground last week, but Georgia's running up middle.
They have a different type of running style. I think it's easier typically to stop.
Yeah. McConnell and Rogers like to go wide, like to beat him out of the edge and run upfield. I don't know if Penn State can stop that. I'm still giving Penn State the win. I think overall they have more talent, and I don't trust Pittsburgh's offense all that much.
You see, I don't trust Penn State's offense a whole lot. They still have Ricky Vega, who's only a true sophomore as a starter. Tanner Bowman is really, really good. I think he'll be a really good professional someday, but I still think he has, at times, just is not consistent, just doesn't complete the passes that are there for him. Maybe forces some things. So I think Pittsburgh's defense is very ball hungry. They're very ball hawky. They'll get maybe a pick or two and put an end to a couple of Penn State drives early on. Maybe try and get them maybe even early double-digit lead that Penn State kind of works that rest of the game, but can't overcome.
If Bowman's going to force the ball, then Corey Davis is going to eat it up. Corey Davis has been big for the Pitt defense. Definitely going to stand in the way of Tanner Bowman. If this game's close, I will. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go for it. No, you go for it.
Oh, well, I mean, if this game is close, I got to give the edge to Penn State. I mean, I think we saw last week that that they can win tight games, as we saw against Georgia.
That's true.
So if this is close against a team that I think is not as great as Georgia, then Penn State should be able to win this if it's tight.
And I think one person that we've kind of I mentioned him just briefly, but who's going to, I think, have a huge impact in this game is the defensive tackle Michael McBride, who is an absolute sack machine. Penn State tries to be balanced, but really the strength of their offense is their passing game. And if McBride gets back there and hits Bowman a couple of times, throws him off, kind of fire up this Pitt defense, I think this defense really kind of thrives around McBride's getting sacks.
Yeah, I can see that. McBride is going to play a huge role in this game. I just don't know if – I feel like the Penn State offensive line can hold him back for quite a bit. If McBride gets to him early, then Bowman's going to be off throughout the game. But if the offensive line wins that battle in the trenches, then I can't see Pitt winning.
That's fair.
All right. Moving on to a showdown in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes take on the 10th-ranked Golden Gophers of Minnesota.
Yeah, I was just a bit young this season. They're a little inexperienced, and I think that's going to hurt them in this game because I think Minnesota is very experienced in most positions. I think they're very talented. Minnesota is, so I think Minnesota will control the game. They won't ever have a huge lead. I think Iowa maybe makes a little bit of a comeback late, so Minnesota wins by about a touchdown, I say.
Yeah, I can't argue that. Michael Black, young quarterback. Jeremiah Newton, not exactly the best carry team. I think Minnesota is starting a new quarterback this year, so that could factor into a closer game.
I mean, they started Sean O'Reilly for like 9 years, so it's time for a new guy.
Yeah. Minnesota takes it close, but I don't know, it's not going to feel like a comfortable win.
It's going to be a Big Ten game. with the Big Ten type of win. You're going to come out of it beat up, and you're not going to feel that great about your win, but you're going to win for Minnesota.
I feel like Bingo likes scheduling road games because all but one of his out-of-conference games are on the road, including his next two, which are at Miami and at Iowa State. So this is a very pivotal stretch for Minnesota here. Starting with this game in Iowa State. He might have scheduled a few home games last season, which is why he's got a lot of away games this season. Maybe. I'm just saying this is a really, really tough stretch here. I mean, starting with Iowa here, at Miami, then at Iowa State. Get a bye, then you're going at Illinois before hosting Nebraska.
I mean, that's a really tough stretch, especially with the way Illinois has played so far this year.
Yes. So if they can escape that with maybe one lump at most, we can maybe.
I think they're in prime position to talk about playoffs.
Yeah, because they get Purdue at home. Though they do.
That's true.
Too whiskey.
Wisconsin's not as well. I mean, they just blew out Michigan State, but I don't think they're as good as they've been the last couple seasons.
Yeah, this is. I don't know. They don't. The quarterback situation there is intriguing, to say the least.
Yeah.
All right. Wisconsin's in a bye. We don't have to talk about that more. One game that we talked about briefly earlier is number 11 Purdue, 16 Nebraska.
You have major concerns about the defense, and I totally understand those are valid concerns, but I just really like Matt Jones and CJ Sheffield right now. I think they're firing on all cylinders. This one, I think, could turn into a blowout, even given Nebraska's defense. I think both teams can score 40 points easily each. So I'll go Purdue by 3, a field goal late.
You said blowout, and I got concerned. But
I'm sorry, a shootout. I meant shootout.
Yeah, this game's definitely going to be high scoring. I just feel Sean Hamilton, Marcus Williams are more experienced than C.J. Sheffield and Matt Jones.
And yeah, that's true.
So in this case, I got to go with a better defense here. I think Nebraska's going to win at home in a very, very tight game. It will come down to the last 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, I think it'll be a late game winner here for one of these teams.
Next one up, Georgia at Georgia State in the Georgia Dome. I don't know.
I might go. This pick might be a little surprising, but I'm going to say Georgia State wins this one, and I think Evan Grant has a really nice game. Maybe not as nice as he's had so far this season, but I don't really like Georgia's offense, and even though Georgia State's defense isn't exactly elite or really very good at all, I'll still take Georgia State. I think both teams will get in the 20s, but I think GSU with a 3-point win. It feels about right to me.
See, I feel like you highlighted the reason Georgia State will lose. That defense is not great. And while Salvador Tanner is not a great passer, he'll be able to find a couple more openings, more so than he did against Tennessee and Penn State. Evan Grant, good, yes, but Georgia is much stouter than Duke or who else have they had? Duke, North Texas, Louisville, San Jose State.
Yeah, that's true. I think Duke's defense is not weak. I mean, they got exposed last week, but historically, last 3-4 seasons, their defense has been pretty solid. But I think definitely Georgia is definitely better in defense.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be Georgia by 10. I don't know if Georgia State can stop Isaac Wilson.
Yeah, this Georgia offense is so bland and boring and predictable that I think they're going to find it tough to win games, even against teams that don't have that great defense. It's just because The defenses know what you're going to do. You're going to line up, run up the middle 30 times a game, 25 times a game. So we know what Georgia's going to try and do in Georgia State. Georgia State knows that. I think they're going to plan for that accordingly. I think they'll come away with a close win.
It's going to be a very intriguing battle of offenses here. Georgia, Bland, and well, yeah, you know what we're going to do, but you can say the same about Georgia State.
That's
That'd be
true.
great.
But I mean, if I'm going to take one of these running backs to excel in their offensive system, I'll take Evan Grant over Isaac Wilson.
That's a fair point. I hear that. I just feel like Georgia is. I got to go with Georgia here. That's my thought.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Last one before game of the week is number 4 Southern Cal at Colorado.
I think my prediction will be a little surprising here. I know Colorado. Well, actually, overrated Colorado. They lost a ton, an absolute ton last season. I think they've played way above their skill level, and so I have here USC by 14 plus. I'm going to change that in the moment to USC by 24 plus.
Ooh. Evan Torres has been better at quarterback for Colorado. Latavius Murray, I don't know why he's calling him a bowling ball. He just likes to go outside a lot.
Yeah, he's got 5 yards to carry so far this season, but I don't think they've played a defense like USC's.
Let's see. Southern Cal's front 7, highlighted by. That's it. Oh. I don't know. Nazir Womack. Joseph Whiteside's a 5'5" defensive tackle, but that's not going to help much against Latavius Murray.
Well, I mean, it does if you get some type of pressure.
Yeah, I think Southern Cal will win this handily. Latavius Murray might have himself a pretty good game, though. I just don't know what more to say about this, because Southern Cal is just that much better of a team than Colorado is.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's talk game of week while we still can. Number 8, Alabama, trying to shake off that loss to Maryland, taking on number 18, LSU. What are your keys to the game here?
Well, definitely for Alabama, you have to protect the quarterback and open up holes for your running game. We know Weston is a solid player. I know he's been mentioned briefly by some of us. I think maybe even me, potentially for Heisman. I don't know if he's necessarily that level of a player, but you have to give him some running game. And so the key for me is for the Bama offensive line to make some holes, I think it's Chase Dillard's running back now, some space there. I think if they do that, Bama's offense is much, much better than I think it's much tougher for this LSU defense to stop them. And I don't really like LSU's offense a whole much either. So if we're going best defense, it's definitely Alabama, and I think Bama's got the better offense too.
Okay, that's fair. For LSU, I think it's going to come down to Jaden Hoff. Can you get him out to the edge? Can you get him past Sebastian Smallwood and Alberto Alvarado? The edge. He has a chance to beat out the likes of Ellen Toitamalofo and James Satterfield. That is a name, I can tell you. Yeah. Bama likes to bring the pressure. Bama likes to bring the pressure. So if you can get the ball to Huff fast, then this LSU offense might have a chance. Again, I don't like it all that much, but defensively, I do think they match up quite well. So it just comes down to whether or not the offense can move the ball. And they've been wildly inconsistent at doing that. See Missouri.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with Bama by 7.
I'm saving my pick for later. Because I've got the thing.
Okay.
I don't know, but one thing that sticks out with Bama is, I mean, at cornerback, you have Michael Hernandez, but William Hinton is not all that great. Might be able to compete with Dwayne Maddox, but we'll see about that. Depth at the linebacker position is not the best. I mean, outside of James Satterfield and Toita Malofo, you have Zaire Simmons and Kevin Grossman. and those two are not exactly great either. It's just Bama's depth doesn't look all that much as it does last year. Same can be said about LSU. I mean, especially defensively, there are a few holes you can point out. You got a young free safety. This is going to be a very tight defensive battle, much like last year's overtime game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And let me see. Special teams. Anything special teams can do. Punting it. We talked briefly about punting like once last year, but Bama definitely wins the edge. Yeah, that was also when Gameday went to Baton Rouge last year for LSU Auburn. We said Auburn would have an edge in the punting game, and that would help in field position battle, and sure enough, it did. That could very well be the case of Bama in this one. Julian Ellsworth, a 4.5 accurate punter. Haven't seen too much of him, but we got to give him some credit here. Bama field position is going to be great in this one, and he's going to help
I think
Bama.
especially this game, both these teams have solid defenses and offenses that we're both kind of questioning a little bit. So field position will be critical. If one team can kind of establish that they're going to start maybe at their own 35, versus the other team starting at their own 20, that gives them a huge edge in a game like this.
Yes, without a doubt. Ellsworth will have to be on his game, for sure. All right, so 306. Do you want to go through picks now, or is there one more thing you want to talk about?
I think we've kind of covered most of it.
All right, so we'll just go with a few rapid fire picks here throughout the day. So I give you 2 from the morning, 2 from the afternoon. 3 from morning, 3 from afternoon, and then rest of the evening games.
All right, let me get back to schedule.
I'm just going to tell you the games. So.
Okay.
All right. Morning games to look out for: Temple at Florida.
Temple by 3.
All right, I'm going Temple by 6.
Okay.
South Carolina at Boston College.
Boston College by 14.
BC by 11. Kentucky at Tennessee.
I'll say Tennessee by 17. I said 3 touchdowns earlier, but I think 17 feels better.
I'll go with 24 Tennessee. All right, in the afternoon, SMU at TCU.
I'm going to go SMU by 1 point.
I'll go a little extreme here and say TCU by 10. And it's crazy that we're calling that extreme. Texas Tech, Texas.
I will go Texas by 4.
Going one up on me. I'm going Texas by 3 at home. Washington State, West Virginia.
I'll go Washington State by a touchdown.
I have no arguments. Wazoo by 1 score. All right, evening games. Number 21 Virginia Tech at number 19 Mississippi State.
I'll take Mississippi State by 7 at home.
All right, I have got the Bulldogs by 4. Number 24 Michigan State at number 12 Oklahoma.
I got Oklahoma by 10 plus at least.
Give me OU by 13. Number 2 Penn State at Pittsburgh.
I'm going to take Pitt by 3. Field goal to win it.
I've got Penn State by I had Penn State by 11 in my preview. I'm going to take that down to 6.
Okay.
All right, number 10 Minnesota at Iowa.
I'll take Minnesota by 7.
Mini by 10. Number 11 Purdue at number 16 Nebraska.
I'll take Purdue by 3 with both teams getting at least 40 points.
I'll hit the flip side. Nebraska by 3. Both teams get 30. Georgia at Georgia State.
I'm going to go with the Panthers here by 3 at home.
Give me Dogs by 10. And number 4 Southern Cal at Colorado.
I'm going to take USC by 24.
I don't want to really give a number here, but Southern Cal will win by 27. And now we have our game of the week. Take as long as you want explaining this one because it's important, obviously.
I think this one will end up determining essentially I keep saying the Big Ten, but the SEC West. Now we've talked about it in detail already. I think both sides of the ball, I prefer Bama to LSU. I'm just going to go with Bama by 7 on the road. They could very easily go to overtime again. If you tell me LSU is going to win this game, I would not be that surprised, but I think Bama is better.
So tell me, do you remember last year we went to Baton Rouge? And I picked LSU. I picked LSU to win this one. And they did not. They let me down. Well, in this one, Bama's offense has struggled. LSU's offense has struggled. We're going to get a defensive shootout. Much like last year's game, and much like LSU did when we came to Baton Rouge last year. I put my faith in LSU once, they let me down. I put my faith in Bama once, they helped me out. So I'm obliged to pick Bama. Not so fast. Not so fast. I've got LSU winning this game. I've got.
What's your final margin?
God, this has been choking me all day. Give me LSU by 3. It's going to be like 23-20. LSU's going to highlight more of Bama's offensive problems. Running game, inconsistent passing game, relying on one man. LSU is 2 really good corners. Eugene Malone, Ronnie Bailey. I just can't see Bama having that much success offensively. Give me LSU. I'm wearing purple and golden for this one.
All right. Using the headgear now.
Yeah, close enough to the headgear. Yeah. I've been wearing this throughout the show, so it's been like really tight on my neck. All right, that'll do it from us here at Game Day. It's been Imposter Coster, joined by MB Clem. Special thanks to Aspiro for joining us and assisting. Enjoy the games. See you.